Hello there, I'm Jarrell Dulay from Sungrand. I'm the developer of the Silver Falls games. Thanks for stopping by. I'm doing a quick check-in today to let you know how things are going. So I've just finished the final version, the final build for the update patch for 3 down stars on the new Nintendo 3DS. And firstly, I just again want to thank everyone who's been picking up the game recently and enjoying the game, and especially for everyone who's been supporting the game for years. Thank you guys so much. I've put in an immense amount of effort. I've been slamming my face against the keyboard the past couple weeks because if you've been around for a while, you'd be familiar with how troublesome Unity is. Unity is the development engine we used. It has always been problematic. It still is problematic, but it's because all of you out there have let me know that you still enjoy the game and that you want to keep enjoying the game. It's because of that I've put in this massive amount of effort on fixing 3 down stars. There's a storm raging outside, there's thunder, there's lightning. My dogs are trying to stop the thunder by barking at it. I think the dogs are doing a great job, so we might have to put up with my dogs barking in the background a little bit. So, what is coming in the 3 down stars patch? As you saw, there's a graphical overhaul. I've done geometry placement on some objects. Every single texture in the game has been touched up pretty much, like 99% of the textures in the game I've manually edited. I just want the graphics to be the absolute best, but not only that, but to increase the stability of the game engine. I've processed every single texture and done a massive amount of tricks. I've come up with some tricks. I was able to experiment with the Unity engine on 3DS as I worked on the other 3DS titles for Silver Falls. And while working on those, I was able to make use of my time and come up with some tricks that will allow me to make 3 down stars much more stable. So we've had a testing team, and they've been having so much fun with the game. They're very happy that the game is more stable. Obviously, Unity on 3DS will never be totally stable. It will always find ways to create issues and be unstable, but this is the most stable build that we've ever seen for 3 down stars. There will be some new content in terms of code linker content, so that the game now is updated to include code linker for the new titles that have been launching. Some of these new titles already have code linker content in 3 down stars, but there will be more. Also, previously, if you code linked 3 down stars with Galaxy Bound Curse, which is our free Game Boy game, which you can grab from our website. Go ahead and grab the ROM and enjoy the game any way you would like. Previously, it would add a duck companion for Frontier Fighters mode, and sometimes if you recruited him, sometimes he's visible in camp and you would be able to recruit him for one mission. He would help you fight the enemies, and that would actually help you with the missions. So there will actually be a new playable character that will be available, as well as the duck helping you. There will also be a new playable character in Frontier Fighters mode. So thank you for that. I'm fine-tuning just one last thing for White inside its Umbra for Nintendo, and we're just trying to sort out some very fine details, and then I'm getting a new version to Nintendo, and then hopefully that will be the version that can launch in North America. I'm also submitting Undertakers for Wii U, again, fine-tuning some minor things just so it's in line with all of the guidelines for the Wii U, and making sure that's the best game it possibly can be. I'm especially looking forward to people enjoying Undertakers on the Wii U because of that 4 versus 1 competitive mode. That's the big draw for the Wii U. I'm pretty close to finishing Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers for 3DS, so I'm really hoping I can still slit that in the door and Nintendo can get that on the eShop. I'm immensely grateful to Nintendo. They've been absolutely amazing. I'll probably never be able to talk about and discuss how incredible Nintendo has been, and the mountains they've moved in order to get these games out onto the eShop so that we can all celebrate the 3DS. And so when the eShop does close, you know, we don't view that with negativity. We say, man, look at all these games we got in at the very last second. I know there's many people out there that are still buying the games. People are messaging me daily, telling me that they've loaded funds into their account and they are looking forward to Silver Falls on the Wii U and the 3DS. So I'm working my absolute hardest, everyone. I'm really, you know, I've done some serious damage to my shoulder, so for the long term, after I finish these games, I'm going to have to set up a new workstation and figure out how I can develop mostly primarily left-handed now. I've done serious damage to my right shoulder. Moving forward, I'm probably going to have to do the majority of my development just left-handed because of the amount of work that I've done and how intensely I've worked on that. But I don't view that with any sort of negativity. I'm not bitter about that. As you go through life and you work and you make sacrifices, a wise man once told me that when you're old enough to work and you have a job, you're just trading your blood for money. And that's what a job is. You give them some of your blood, they'll give you some money. So I'm hoping I can find a decent exchange rate for that. Now, I just want to thank everyone who has been contributing to Patreon. I'm hugely grateful for that. And I wanted to think of a way to where we could put the Patreon funds towards something that is tangible, so that the people that have contributed to Patreon can look at the series and they can see that they have contributed in a tangible way, not just paying bills and keeping the lights on in the studio. And so what I'm doing, I'm writing an immense amount of music. I will work on getting the soundtracks available so that if people want to buy the soundtracks and have them on whatever listening platform, I'm working towards that, but I need to prioritize getting these games to Nintendo in their final build state so they can launch. But after these games are all, the final builds are into Nintendo and they've launched, I'll work on getting the soundtracks out to you. I appreciate everyone letting me know that they enjoy the soundtracks. I work very hard on them. And yeah, and I want to put them online so people can listen to the soundtracks for free as well, you know, on YouTube and Spotify and whatnot. So lately what I've been putting towards the Patreon contributions towards is I've been picking up antique instruments, and then I've been restoring those. I've been picking up sort of niche instruments and modifying them to create unique, interesting sounds. So one such instrument that I've picked up using the Patreon funds is this antique Zither, and I was able to pick this up for $50. So I'm quite excited about that. It was in a terrible state. It wasn't playable. It was you know, an absolute wreck. So I've spent some time with it. I've restored it the best that I can, and it is in a playable state, and it is in a way that I will be able to use this in soundtracks in upcoming titles. So please look forward to that. I'll just sort of make some noise with it. You can hear what this sounds like. So I'm still getting used to playing it, but I'm very much looking forward to incorporating this in future Silver Falls soundtracks. I have a little bit room left in the Gaiden soundtrack, so please look forward to hearing this antique Zither in upcoming tracks of music for Silver Falls Gaiden. And I wanted to put the Patreon funds towards that, so when people listen to the Silver Falls music and they enjoy that music, they can say, oh, I contributed to that. The reason why there's this interesting, unique sound to Silver Falls is because the Patreons have contributed something so that I can pick up these instruments and I can spend some money on parts, on restorations and customizing and fixing up instruments so that I can get an interesting sound. Because I'm a one-man studio and I do all the composing myself, it's very easy for me to go on autopilot when I'm composing music, and if that happens, that's quite dangerous, because you run the risk of just creating something very boring, and that's the very last thing that I want to happen with the Silver Falls series. So I put in an immense amount of effort and time in making sure the soundtracks are interesting, but there's a limit to what I can create with digital voices, because it becomes quite dull. I'm just sitting there with a keyboard, and when you have an immense amount of work to do in terms of composing, you inevitably will go on autopilot. And if you're not careful, you're just going to produce some very dull music that sounds quite samey. And that's why I'm putting so much effort into learning to play more of these instruments that aren't necessarily mainstream. I've been picking up antiques and fixing them up. So that's all thanks to our Patreon supporters. And if you would like to contribute to Patreon, I'll put the link in the description. And then if you do contribute to Patreon, you'll be able to listen to upcoming soundtracks in Silver Falls games. And when it has an interesting, unique sound, and I was able to incorporate an interesting instrument, you can look at that and say, yeah, okay, I've contributed to Silver Falls. The sound of this game represents people that support Silver Falls and that have directly contributed. And I just want to thank all of you for supporting the series. Well, I desperately need to get back to work now. My eyeballs feel like squares. I've been staring at screens for hours and hours and hours, but hey, I'm almost got all the final builds of these games in, and hopefully Nintendo can hold the door open just a little bit longer. I'm so close. But again, we're in uncharted territory. As we saw with Europe, the situation suddenly changed and we weren't able to launch our games in Europe. But we still have a chance to get these games out. I mean, we've already got a few out. We've got, Ghoul Busters and Guardians and Metal Exterminators out, and I am so grateful for people that have picked up those games. So I'm going to keep working hard. I'm going to get more games and more updates out to all of you. So please take care of yourselves. Thank you, and hopefully we will see you soon in Silver Falls. Be well.